Hello, this is Jim Duff with JDE and Associates. We get to help contractors succeed. Today I'd like to go and explain how we fill out our headers on our takeoff sheets. This sounds like a no-brainer, but truthfully it gets a lot of contractors in trouble. We're going to start off and we're going to just put the job name in. This is Irwin 3-story tenant improvement. Then we're going to put in the estimator's name. The estimator today is Sam Smith, and so he just uses S. Smith because he's the only person with those initials. That's fine. If you had two people with S. Smith, then you'd have to get a little bit more specific, because I want the person that completed this estimate to be able to own it. Okay, this isn't something to get anybody in trouble, but it's important that we know. Date's pretty important. Matter of fact, it's critically important. So we're going to use whatever the current date is. This is actually not the current date, but for an example, this will work. Now, if I happen to get called out on a meeting or an emergency or whatever reason I get called out, and then I come back and let's say that I didn't get back to it the same day, but I got back to it the next day, I'm going to put in that date as well. This isn't going to help you much during your estimate, but what it will do is if you are awarded the job and then during the job you find there's a problem, this could be a help to find out where the problem might be. Maybe you miss something, or it's just kind of a neon sign to say, look here. It's not guaranteed, because nothing in life is guaranteed. Takeoff sheet. Takeoff sheet is going to start with 1. Now, I start with 1 and I don't quit counting until I'm done. Now, we're going to take off fixtures first, light fixtures first. And let's just assume it's going to take 6 or 7 takeoff sheets for the light fixtures. Well, I'm just going to keep counting 1 through 6 or 7, and then I'm going to start my switchgear. Well, I'll start my switchgear on 7 or 8, whichever is the next number, and I'll just continue counting. Again, it sounds really too simple to talk about. But you would be amazed how many contractors get in trouble because they don't number their takeoff sheets. When we're done with the estimate, and I mean 100% complete with the takeoff, I will come back, and if we have 40 sheets, I will stick, let's just say we have 39 sheets. I'll have that of 39 on every takeoff sheet. Again, sounds like a no-brainer, and trust me, gets a lot of people in trouble. On the section, well, there's several items that you could be. The vast majority of what I'm doing is going to be base bid. This is what they want. Now, alternates. Alternates are kind of a pain in the neck. But if you get used to how to do them, they're really not that difficult. I have had projects with 50, 60 alternates. I had one about 2 years ago that had over 100. That's an exception. That doesn't happen very often. Normally 2 or 3 alternates is about all you're going to get, but exceptions do happen. Now, if you come down and you look and you see where it says VO number 1, that's not a Canadian whiskey. That's a value option. Now, most contractors call that value engineer. Well, I don't, because I'm not an engineer, and I know it really doesn't matter. But I get called fairly regularly, 2 or 3 times a year. Jim, what the heck's this VO? Well, then I have a little bit of time to pitch my proposal. I have been called a number of times because I do value options, because a lot of contractors don't. And let's say that I bid a project and lost it. Well, I have had phone calls, and the reasons that I do is because I do put in value options. I don't do it on every project because it does take some time. After value options, temporary power. I put an estimate together for temporary power on every project. Temporary power eats a lot of contractors' lunches. We lose a lot of money on temporary because we didn't take the time to really consider what the cost were going to be. Here we're going to use base bid. The next item is going to be the actual breakouts. Okay, well, I'm going to start on fixtures, but you can see I have switchgear, special systems, feeders, branch, devices, etc. Well, the etc., here's a couple of examples. I've had two really large projects where we actually put in one case, 6 generators. They cascaded as needed. This was in a hospital. Well, between the load shedding, switchgear, and the generators, it just behooved me to go ahead and break out the generators on their own, so I didn't put those under switchgear, which is how I would normally do it. This was an exception. Another one would be a big UPS. I've done multiple computer centers where the batteries for the UPSs could have been in a room that was several hundred square feet, and all they had in those rooms were the batteries. When I have an extremely large UPS system, I'll break those out separately again. It just gives me a little more control. Light fixtures. I have had projects, probably 6 or 8 of them in my career, where I had those indirect fluorescent fixtures that's hung off of aircraft cable. Well, when I get a job with 20, 30, 40,000 feet of them, I will break those out into a separate breakout. And again, it just makes my estimating a little bit easier, more accurate, and without a doubt easier for a project manager and a field supervisor to understand. Today I'm just going to fix fixtures. Division. Division, if you were to look at my estimating text, you would see that I could go in there and put site, basement, first, second, third, fourth floor, and on and on. And you can do that. That's not a problem. Typically, my drawings tell me where I'm at on a building. So I very rarely use that. Now, I have done quite a few sports arenas, hockeys, baseball, football fields, and they have sections. Well, sometimes on a drawing you might get 2 sections on one drawing, and so I will put the section in there between the drawing number and the section number. You can actually break out a job real well. On a standard job like this 3-story tenant improvement, I'm not going to use it, so I'm just going to stick a line in, and that line lets everybody know that I'm just not using division on this particular job. Drawing reference, it's whatever the engineer put on their drawings. That's how I take and head up my takeoff sheets. Today it's almost an automatic function with me. I don't even think about it. It's just whenever I need a new takeoff sheet, I just do it. Anyhow, I hope that this has been beneficial to you, and I wish you good luck with your efforts. If I can ever do anything for you, phone number is 970-2 231-5423. I don't always answer my phone because I'm often helping other people. Leave a message and I will get back to you typically that day, if not that day. As long as it's a business day following, I will call you the next day. Good luck. Thanks.